Hello and welcome to the third part of this tutorial. I hope you have been well, and I also hope that you've been keeping up with me so far with this video. If not, then please go back to part 1 because this is part 3, so we have already done quite a few until now, and we are just doing refining, detailing, adding up colors and shades to what we built in the first two parts of this illustration. So right now I re-wetted the area of the boys' trousers, and I'm going to add more phthalo blue, and it's just a matter of bravery at this point. If you were brave enough before, then you don't need to do this part because you have already done it in the first layer. But I'm a little rabbit when it comes to painting with watercolor, so I always slowly add my layers, and I am always a bit too scared to add more darkness, even though I think it looks very, very beautiful. Like right now you can see how much darker I made it, and I'm already intimidated by it, and I already start to smudge it around so that it's not as dark as it is. But it's really beautiful, so I don't know what I'm afraid of. I guess it's just my nature. So yeah, I realized that the trousers need to be darker, so I made sure to add as much darkness as I dared to do so. And as you can see, I'm not adding much details, a lot of creases to the clothes, a lot of highlighted areas, and that's because I want to keep it simple. I don't want any focus to be there. However, if you feel like this is too simple for you, you are free to experiment with how the creases would fold around his body. But for now I just wanted to create some smooth surface that still looks like trousers, but I didn't want people to look at there. I wanted them to look at what the boy was doing. So later on in my other tutorials, in my other videos, you will see that I add quite a bit of creases and quite sharp shadows to the clothes, but not in this one. So at this point my whole trouser area is wet, and I'm just adding shadows where I see that it should be. There shouldn't be a sharp line around the whole body, the whole trousers, but I still think that there needs to be some areas that is really dark as phthalo blue gets. So if you saw my water control practice, then this would be the time to add the buttery texture, which is the darkest one of all 5. And then it's time to add some shadows around the boy's body, starting out with his left foot. I'm adding the contour bits so that the toes are more visible, the back of the foot is more visible, and you can clearly see what he is doing, because right now his body is blurred into the background because it's such a similar light tone. It doesn't stand out. So that's why we need to contour around the legs and around the shape of the body and even the clothes as well. And the part that I was really excited about is to add some imprints, some texture to the wheels of the tractor, as it would be in real life. It's really exciting, and I'm not sure that you will be able to see it here, but I really hope that once I get there you will see the end result, and it's just very intricate. It's a very intricate detail. Yes, right here you can kind of see how I'm zigzagging around the wheel. How it has these little bumpy areas all around the wheel that leaves an imprint in the ground where it goes. At this point I'm using Escoda Perla size 0 brush, which is for contouring, and I'm using a texture that I would say either milk or cream, depending on how dark the shadow you are using. For example, here this is Indigo by White Nights, and I'm using milk consistency, which is not the darkest one, not even the one before that, but right in the middle of the spectrum. I'm also adding some extra details to the middle part, which is light and pale. I'm going to add a few extra circles there, just because it's pretty. The more details you add, the prettier it gets. And I'm going to draw the circles around the eyes, so it looks like googly eyes, but I think in real life they are not. They are just painted, or it's a sticker there, I'm not sure. And then there is the back wear that is still kept white. This is actually the last part that is kept white, and it shouldn't be. So with that, our painting will be colorful as it gets. And then we can continue our process of painting the contouring around the boy's body to make it stand out from the background. The hands and the fingers always get me, as well as the lips, so it's really time to create some practice video about those two subjects, because I do feel like I'm getting better with each painting, as it should be. The more you practice, the better you are, but it's still not perfect. I still feel like I could do so much more. I need to get better at painting hands and lips or mouth, because I want to. There is always some area in your life where you want to get better, and I think it's crucial with painting, with art, with any kind of art. Like, if you think you can do it all, then you are not interested in it anymore. Or do you? At least that's how I feel, that if I knew how to paint anything and everything, it might become boring, because I wouldn't feel like there is place for me to grow, so I would stop painting. I would probably start doing something completely different that I know nothing of. But I don't think it's going to happen in this lifetime. It's just for the reason that I don't think, I never feel like I can get good enough. Whenever I paint the illustrations for a book, and I finish, by the time I finish the book, I paint the last illustration, I already think that the first one could have been so much better, because I developed so much, I improved a lot from the beginning to the end of the book. Like sometimes I have 10 illustrations for a book, sometimes I have 20. Now you can imagine if you keep drawing or painting something 20 times, well, 20 times, I would say at least 100 times. Because even before I start painting, I keep practicing. I draw all the sketches first. I have some initial ideas. The author then or the client is allowed to have revisions 4 times per illustrations. So that's 5 times the drawing of each page. So you can imagine by the time I finish with the 20th illustration, I am so much better than when I started it with the first. So yeah, I just always feel like I am way better than I was before, and I always see that I'm never gonna get good enough for me. Like I am good enough right now. I paint somewhat pretty images, illustrations, but I always feel like that, for example, in 30 years, I'm going to be 64 years old, and I can't imagine saying at 64 years old, I have done it all, I'm a beautiful artist, I paint everything just the way it should be, and there is nowhere for me to go to improve from here. I just can't see that happening. Because by the time I learn something, then I find something still better, still more interesting for me. And yeah, I will just always be like this, wanting to do it better and better each time. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like you can never get good enough, or do you think that at one point in your life you will just say, "Oh, this is it. This is what I wanted to reach, and I know it all now." So as we are moving forward, I did draw around the boy's silhouette, and now I am doing the front wheel of the tractor, and I'm adding some extra details so that it's more intricate, more beautiful, more pleasing for the eye. And then I realized that also my t-shirt, the boy's t-shirt that I'm painting is still too light. I don't like it the way it is right now, so I'm going to wet it, and then I'm going to add some extra color to make it darker. Extra raw umber, sorry, to be specific. So it's important to balance your paintings, as I like to say in all of my videos, meaning that the darkest and the lightest points of your painting has a wide range, and you have a point where the light is coming from, and everything that you paint on that paper is going to reflect that. For example, here the light is coming from the left, and so you can see that everything on the right is in the shadow, or most of the things at least. I'm also going to add some extra shadow to the hair of the boy because I felt like it wasn't dark enough. Here you can start to see that I'm adding quite a bit of highly saturated raw umber. So I just realized that the most important bit, for me at least, is when I did the detailing of the floor was not recorded. I don't know how I'm only realizing this now, but I want to tell you while I'm doing the hair of this boy what I did exactly step by step so that you can recreate it, because in a few minutes there's going to be a cut and boom, my very detailed floor is going to be right there in your face and you have no idea how I did it. So basically what you need to be doing is using highly contrasted, meaning like cream-like or buttery-like texture of the English Red by Schmincke that we initially use for the ground, and just reline those straight lines that where we initiated where the panels of wood are. And then one by one, with a very light hand and very diluted English Red, you need to mimic the wooden texture that is on the ground. You will see it just in a second because there's going to be the cut coming. There, you see what I'm talking about? You need to be, it takes a very long time. I think I did it for an hour or an hour and a half. And yeah, I don't know how I didn't record it. I never noticed it that I didn't record it. So you can see that there are some lines that go straight, some lines that have this knot, and then the lines follow the shape of the knot all the way through the panel. And what I'm doing right now using Escoda Perla size 0 and Telo Blue is that I'm adding the extra details of the trousers that is on the front of the boy, how the zippers are sewn there. So I'm going to create some shadow around the boy using English Red by Schmincke, and you can just imagine how the light is coming from the left, so you should create some extra shadows right next to the boy on the right side there. So just start painting and never mind about the sharp straight line, because that it is how it looks in real life, so you don't really need to worry about it. And if I may say, just keep adding shadows, keep adding darkness gradually until you are happy. So for example, if you went in straight in with the darkest possible English red, you might be disappointed by how sharp it is. Just create some shadow that is nearly the same color as the ground underneath for a more realistic effect. A little shadow around the sock as well. And some shadow to the side of the tractor. So you can use a cool tone green here, meaning that it has more blue in it than green, or you can use the same exact shade that you used before, just a more saturated version. And just color the side of the tractor once more so that it has some difference between the lightest and darkest tones around it. So this is going to be the last thing that I'm doing to this painting. If you have a look at the beginning of this video and this end part, you can see a clear difference. The whole illustration is so much cleaner, clearer, and there is like a visible clear vision of what the boy is doing and how this illustration has come together. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Please let me know how you liked this illustration tutorial. Bye.